Hello and welcome to my YouTube. This YouTube is remembering the year 1984. In 1984, I was 40 years old, and I worked for Apple Computer in their education division. Ronald Reagan was president in 1984. On January 27th, Michael Jackson's hair catches fire during the filming of a Pepsi commercial. On May 8th, the Soviet Union announces that it will boycott the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. On May 8th, the longest game in Major League Baseball history begins between the Milwaukee Braves and the Chicago White Sox. The game is played over the course of 2 days, lasting 25 innings for a total time of 8 hours and 6 minutes. On May 27th, an overnight flash flood rages through neighborhoods in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nearly 15 inches of rain fell in some areas over a 4-hour period. 14 people are killed. On June 4th, Bruce Springsteen releases Born in the USA. This album is the first CD to be manufactured in the United States. On July 17th, the National Minimum Drinking Age Act is passed in the United States, setting 21 years old as the legal age to drink. On June 27th, the movie The Karate Kid is released. On July 13th, Terry Wallace, a 19-year-old living in Arkansas, falls into a deep coma after a severe automobile accident. He will eventually awaken 19 years later, on June 13th of 2003. On July 18th, in San Ysidro, California, 41-year-old James Huberty sprays a McDonald's restaurant with gunfire, killing 21 people before being shot and killed. On July 28th through August 12th, the 1984 Summer Olympics are held in Los Angeles, California. On August 3rd, Mary Lou Retton of the United States Olympics gymnastic team scores a perfect 10 on her final vault. She is the first American woman to win an Olympic gymnastics gold medal. On August 11th, President Ronald Reagan, during a voice check for a radio broadcast, remarks, quote, "My fellow Americans, I'm pleased to tell you today that I've signed legislation that will outlaw Russia forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes." Fortunately, that test did not go out live over the air. Unfortunately, it was recorded and later secretly leaked, much to the embarrassment of the president, who had to apologize to Russia. On September 16th, Miami Vice premieres on NBC television. On September 10th, the TV show Jeopardy begins with host Alex Trebek. On October 7th, Barbara Walters hosts the first presidential debate between Walter Mondale and President Reagan in Kentucky. On October 26th, the movie The Terminator premieres. On November 6th, in the presidential election, Ronald Reagan defeats Walter Mondale with 59% of the popular vote. On November 8th, A Nightmare on Elm Street is released. Do you remember the name of this character? He was Freddy Krueger. Crack cocaine is first introduced into Los Angeles in 1984. The Chrysler Corporation introduces the first vehicles to officially be labeled as minivans. They are branded as the Chrysler Town & Country, the Dodge Caravan, and the Plymouth Voyager. So, who was born in 1984? This comedian from Saturday Night Live, Kate McKinnon. This really, really rich guy, Mark Zuckerberg. This pretty singer, Katy Perry. This very fine actress, Scarlett Johansson. This singer, Jelly Roll. This great basketball player, LeBron James. What were the top grossing movies of 1984? In other words, which movies made the most money? Starting at the biggest money maker of the year, Ghostbusters. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver. Second biggest money maker, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Number 3, Gremlins. Number 4, The Karate Kid. And number 5, Beverly Hills Cop. What were the top-rated TV shows of 1984? Number 1, Dynasty. Number 2, Dallas. Number 3, The Cosby Show. Number 4, 60 Minutes. And number 5, Family Ties. The winner of the Academy Award for Best Actor went to this guy, Robert Duvall, in the movie Tender Mercies. The winner of the Academy Award for Best Actress went to this lady, Shirley MacLaine, Terms of Endearment. And the winner of the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1984, this movie, Terms of Endearment. So what was introduced back in 1984? Well, this thing, the Macintosh computer, came out in 1984 in January. This was very significant in my life because I worked for Apple for 30 years. In fact, I had dinner with Steve Jobs the night before we introduced the Macintosh to the Apple employees at a meeting in Honolulu. Advil came out in 1984. Air Jordan tennis shoes were announced that year. The Clapper. Remember the ads? Clap on, clap off. You plug things into it and you just clap and it turns things on and off. The Discman, one of the very first CD players. And a company called PCs Limited was started that year. It was started by this kid. He was a college kid at the University of Texas, and he started building homemade desktop computers in his dorm room. So he called the company PCs Limited. He later decided to rename the company, and he called it after himself. This kid is Michael Dell, and he started Dell Computers. Cisco Systems was started back in 1984. The Cola Pad. The 3.5-inch floppy disk came out that year. And the game Tetris was introduced in 1984. Remember, you would, with your keyboards, you would move these things and try to fill them in. The TED conference started back in 1984. TED, Technology, Education, Design. And today they're on YouTube. The first Papa John's Pizza opens in Jeffersontown, Kentucky. The average annual salary in 1984 was $24,430. Let me convert that into today's dollars. That would have been $76,176. And that's about what the average salary is today. The average cost of a modest new car in 1984 was $5,289. Converting that into our dollars, that's a $16,491 car. The cost of a new home in 1984 was $97,600. In today's dollars, that's a $304,000 home. And the cost of a gallon of gas was $1.21. Converting that into our dollars, that's expensive gas. That is $3.77 in today's dollars. Who are these famous people of 1984? Who's this guy? Clint Eastwood. And this singer, who by the way died in 1984, Marvin Gaye. And this singer, Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper. And this singer, Madonna. And this singer, Sting. And this singing trio, the Pointer Sisters. And this politician, Fidel Castro. And this politician, give you a hint, she's British, Margaret Thatcher. And this American politician, I'll give you a hint. Here is an infamous photograph of him. Gary Hart. And this singer, Prince. And this fine actor, Tom Selleck. And this actor, Michael J. Fox. So thanks for watching. I hope you had some fun remembering 1984.